The afternoon sun was high above the small town of Udo, casting long shadows across the dusty road where women sold food, fruits, cold water, and roasted plantain. And in the middle of that busy street sat Rosemary, the poor widow known by everyone for her warm smile and her cooking. Rosemary's stall was nothing big, just a wooden table, 2 old pots, a small charcoal stand, and a bench made from leftover planks. But her rice and stew was the talk of the street. She cooked it with love, even though she barely had enough money to feed herself and her little daughter Amara. That day, Rosemary was stirring her pot when she noticed something strange. A small boy, no more than 5 years old, was walking slowly along the road. His face was wet with tears, and he kept wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. He looked lost. He looked frightened. And he looked like he had not eaten since morning. Rosemary's heart tightened. She had seen the boy before running errands for a woman who lived 2 streets behind the market. But today he looked different. He looked broken. Without thinking twice, she called out gently, "My child, come here. Come and rest." The boy stopped. He looked around as if he wanted to run. Then slowly, very slowly, he walked toward her, dragging his feet on the dusty ground. Rosemary bent down so their eyes were the same level. "My son, why are you crying like this? What happened to you?" The boy opened his mouth to speak, but burst into tears again, loud, painful cries that came from deep inside his small chest. Rosemary placed her hand on his shoulder. "Shh. It's okay. Tell me what is wrong. Maybe I can help." The boy sniffed hard. "My stepmother. She sent me to buy rice and stew for her. She gave me money, but... He cried again, hiding his face with both hands. "But what, my child?" Rosemary asked softly. "I lost the money. I was running and I fell. When I got up, the money was gone. If I go home now, she will beat me. She will lock me in the storeroom. She will not give me food for days. She has done it before." Rosemary felt so sad for him. "How old are you?" she asked. "5, he said weakly. "My name is David." 5, only 5. And already suffering like this? Rosemary swallowed a hard breath. She lifted his chin, wiping his tears with her wrapper. "Listen to me, David. You are safe here, okay? Nobody will beat you. Nobody will starve you." David looked up at her with wide, scared eyes. "But I don't have money to pay for the food she asked me to buy. She will punish me if I go home with nothing." Rosemary smiled warmly. "Who said you will go home with nothing?" She opened her food cooler and dished out a generous amount of rice. She poured fresh stew on top and added 2 pieces of meat. Then she wrapped it carefully in a nylon bag. David stared in shock. "Auntie, I don't have money." "You don't need money," Rosemary replied. "I am giving this to you." "Why?" he asked, confused. "Because you are a child," she said, "and children must not suffer. Whenever you are hungry, come here and eat. I have a daughter your age. I would never want her to cry like this. So I will not let you cry alone." David's lips trembled. "You mean I can come here again?" "Yes, my child." He held the warm food to his chest like a treasure. "Auntie, thank you." But Rosemary was not done. She took a clean plate and served another portion of rice, this one for David himself. "Eat now," she said, "then take the other one home. That way your stepmother will not have any reason to punish you." David blinked fast. He sat down on the small bench beside her stall and began to eat like someone who had been starving for days. Rosemary watched him quietly, her heart heavy. What kind of woman treats a child like this? What kind of mother starves a 5-year-old? As David finished the last spoon, he looked up suddenly, fear returning to his eyes. "Auntie, if she sees I am late, she will..." "Go," Rosemary said firmly, handing him the wrapped food. "Tell her the seller delayed you. If she wants to complain, let her come and meet me." David shook his head quickly, terrified. "She will come. She always fights people. Please, Auntie, don't let her fight you. She is wicked." Rosemary smiled calmly. "My son, wicked people don't scare me. I have faced worse in this life." But she didn't know David was right. The stepmother would come. And that woman was not only wicked, she was dangerous. David held the warm nylon of rice and stew tightly as he walked home. His small legs moved fast, but his heart was heavy. Rosemary's kindness had given him courage, but his fear of his stepmother was still strong. So strong that even the sun seemed to hide behind the clouds as he approached the compound. The gate was half open. His stepmother, Adan, was standing outside. Her eyes were sharp like a blade, and anger was written all over her face. "David," she shouted, "where did you go? Why are you just coming back now?" David froze at the entrance. He held the nylon tighter. "Auntie, Mama, the woman selling food. She delayed." Before he could finish, she marched toward him and pushed his forehead with her finger. "Liar! Useless boy! You think you can fool me? Give me the food." David handed the nylon to her quickly. She snatched it like a hawk catching a chick. Then she looked at him from head to toe. "So you ate, right?" David panicked. No, Ma, I did not eat." Adan slapped the wall beside him, making him jump. "Shut up. I can smell the stew on your mouth. You think you are smart, so you wasted my time and you ate outside behind my back. Useless child." David felt tears rising. "Mama, I'm sorry, I won't do it again." "Keep quiet," she snapped. "You will not eat in this house for 3 days. And if you like, go and tell your father. The day you open your mouth and report me, that day you will leave this house forever. Do you hear me?" David nodded weakly. "Yes, Ma." "Good. Now go inside and sit on the floor until I call you." He walked into the house quietly. Inside their home, the living room was big and bright, but it felt cold to David. He sat on the ground quietly, hugging his knees. He heard Adan eating loudly in the kitchen. He heard her humming happily. He heard her calling her own son, Ibuka, to come eat with her. But she never called David. Hours later, David's father returned. His name was Mr. Okafor, a quiet man who worked long hours. He was tired and hungry. He sat at the dining table. "Adan, bring food," he called. Adan rushed out, smiling like a perfect angel. "Yes, my husband." She served him a large plate of rice and stew. While he ate, he called out, "David, come and join me." David lifted his head from where he sat on the floor. His stomach was empty. But he remembered the threat. "I'm not hungry, Daddy," he said quietly. I ate already." Adan watched him with a wicked smile. She enjoyed his suffering. She loved the power she had over him. Later in the night, she walked past him and whispered, "Tell your father anything. And you will sleep outside this house. And if you sneak into my kitchen to eat, I will break your head. Sleep on that floor like the goat you are." David nodded again, even though his heart was breaking inside him. Suddenly, footsteps approached. His heart jumped. Was it Adan coming to beat him again? But when the footsteps drew closer, he realized they were small, light steps. It was Ibuka. David quickly wiped his tears. He didn't want Adan's son to mock him, but surprisingly, Ibuka sat down next to him. He whispered, "David, are you okay?" David looked at him confused. Ibuka was only 6, slightly older, but he was the only one in the house who didn't treat David badly. "I'm fine," David lied. "No, you are not," Ibuka said softly. "I saw Mama take your food. She told me not to talk to you, but I don't like how she shouts at you." David blinked. His chest warmed a little. At least someone in the house saw his pain. Ibuka opened his hand. Inside it was a small piece of bread. "I brought this for you. But hide it. Mama must not know." David hesitated. "What if she finds out?" Ibuka shook his head. "She won't. I will say I ate it." David slowly took the bread with both hands. "Thank you much." Ibuka smiled shyly, then stood up. "Good night." "Good night," David replied. As Ibuka walked away, David ate the small bread slowly. It wasn't much, but it gave him strength. The next day, the sun was bright and the streets were busy, but David was walking slowly, dragging his school bag on the ground. He had been sent home from school again. His eyes were red from crying. As he walked past Rosemary's stall, she immediately noticed him. She called out, "David, my son, come here." David wiped his face quickly, trying to hide his tears, but Rosemary could see everything. "What is wrong again?" she asked. David's voice broke as he spoke. "Mama, they sent me home. I have not paid my school fees." Rosemary frowned. But your father works. Why has he not paid? David shook his head sadly. Daddy gave the money to my stepmother last week, but she refused to pay. She kept it. She said I should never tell my father. If I talk, she will send me to the street. Mama, she said she will throw me out. Rosemary's blood boiled. I will go there and drag that woman out of her house immediately. That woman is heartless, a small child like you. Why is she doing all this wickedness? David wiped more tears. Mama, please, don't go to my house. If you go, she will beat me. Rosemary held his shoulders firmly. No, my son, I will not let you stay home while other children are in school. As we speak now, my daughter is sitting in her class. You too must be in school. You are not a servant. You are a child, and a bright one. David looked up at her with hopeful, trembling eyes. Mama, what will I do? Rosemary sighed deeply. Come here tomorrow morning. I will give you money to pay your school fees yourself. Go straight to the headmaster's office and pay it. David gasped. Mama, you will give me? Yes, she said firmly, and don't argue with me. I will not let wickedness win. David's face changed from sadness to joy in one moment. God bless you, Mama. I will never forget this. I promise you, one day when I grow up, I will be a big engineer. I will take you to the city. I will build you a very big house. Rosemary smiled warmly. My son, may the ancestors make your words come true. David nodded with so much hope in his heart. Then Rosemary asked, Have you eaten today? David looked down immediately. No, Mama. My stepmother said I should not eat for 3 days. Rosemary's smile disappeared instantly. That woman is evil. The day she falls into my trap, I will beat her anyhow she will never forget. How can you starve a small boy? What kind of human being is she? She didn't wait for an answer. She quickly dished out a big plate of rice, stew, and added meat. Eat, my child. Eat until your stomach is full. As long as I am alive, you will never go hungry again. David sat quietly and ate. When he finished, he cleaned his mouth and whispered, Thank you, Mama. You saved me again. Rosemary looked at him with the kind of love only a true mother could give. Go home, my son, and come back early tomorrow morning. Your school days are not over, not under my watch. David smiled for the first time that day, and the sun seemed to shine brighter on him as he walked away. When David reached home, his stepmother, Adan, was sitting on a plastic chair outside. She looked up as she heard his footsteps. Her eyes narrowed immediately. Why are you back from school so early? She demanded. David swallowed hard. Mama, they chased me, because my school fees were not paid. Adan dropped her orange and hissed loudly. Shut up. What do you even know? Who told you that you must go to school? Your mates are in the farm working. What are you learning in school? A useless boy like you, wasting people's money. David stood quietly, staring at the ground. Mama, I just want to learn. Daddy gave you money. Keep quiet, she shouted so loudly that a lizard on the wall ran away. She pointed her long finger at him. If I hear that you mention school fees in this house again, I will throw you outside like rubbish. And don't you ever tell your father that you were sent home. Do you hear me? David's voice was tiny. Yes, Ma. Good. Now get inside. He turned slowly to enter the house. His stomach was already rumbling again, and he paused at the doorway. Mama, is there food for me? Adan burst into laughter. Food? For who? You? There is no food for poor lazy boys like you in this house. Since you know how to roam the streets, go and look for what to eat outside. In this house, only useful children eat. David felt the pain hit him like a stone, but he didn't speak. He just lowered his head and walked into the empty living room. His stomach tightened painfully, but he kept quiet the way he always did. Outside, Adan shouted after him, And don't come near my pot. If I see you touch anything, I will break your legs. David sat on the cold floor where he slept the night before, his tiny hands wrapped around his knees as hunger bit him again. But this time, instead of crying, he closed his eyes and whispered softly, Tomorrow I will go to Mama Rosemary. Tomorrow I will pay my school fees. The next morning, David went straight to Rosemary's stall. She was already in front of her shop. When she saw David, she smiled warmly and handed him a small envelope with the school fees. Go straight to school, my son. Don't talk to anybody on the road. Pay your fees and return here after school so I will see your receipt. David almost cried again from happiness. Thank you, Mama. God bless you. One day I will build you a house. Rosemary touched his head gently. Go, my child. The world will be good to you. David ran to school, and few hours later he returned with a big smile and the payment receipt in his hand. Rosemary hugged him tightly. Good boy. Now go home with courage, and if anybody disturbs you again, come and tell me. David nodded with joy and ran home. When he reached the compound, Adan was washing clothes and humming a song. He walked up to her and stretched out the receipt politely. Mama, here is the receipt. My school fees has been paid. Adan stopped instantly. Her eyes widened. Paid? Paid by who? Your father is at work. I did not give you any money. Who paid it? David swallowed slowly. Mama Rosemary helped me. The moment those words left his mouth, Adan's face changed completely. Her anger rose like fire. So that useless widow has been spoiling you. I heard it before, but I did not believe it. Mama Grace told me that the widow gives you food like a dog. So it is true. David stepped back in fear as she shouted louder. So that hungry woman has the guts to interfere in my family business. She has the audacity to pay your fees. So she wants to show me that she is better than me. She wants to prove something. She wants to make me look like a bad mother. Anne, today I will go there and deal with her. Before David could talk, Adan marched out of the compound like a wounded lioness. When Adan reached Rosemary's stall, she didn't even greet. She started shouting immediately, Rosemary, come out, you useless woman. You that spoiled that witch boy David. You that has nothing but wants to show yourself. You this hopeless widow that unalived your husband with suffering. Rosemary froze for a moment. Adan continued shouting, Why did you pay that foolish boy's school fees? Why are you giving him food? You want to act like a saint. You want to make me look like a bad person. I will teach you a lesson today. You think you can challenge me? You widow that unalived your husband. She didn't finish the sentence. Something in Rosemary snapped. Her eyes darkened. Adan, she said in a deep, quiet voice, if you say one more word, I will beat you here and now. But Adan, too blinded by madness, stepped forward and pushed Rosemary's chest. Beat who? You think you can touch me? You poor hungry. Rosemary's slap landed before she could finish. Rosemary grabbed Adan by her hair and beat her mercilessly. She beat her until Adan was begging and crying. I'm sorry, leave me, please. Rosemary released her and pointed a warning finger at her face. If you ever call that boy a witch again, if you ever starve him again, I will finish what I started today. You hear me? Adan, covered in dust and shame, nodded quickly like a frightened chicken. She ran home shamelessly while the entire street laughed at her. 10 years passed like wind. David was no longer the small crying boy who used to sit on Rosemary's floor. He had grown into a tall, handsome, intelligent 15-year-old with bright eyes and a sharp mind. He was one of the best students in his school. Teachers loved him because he was humble and brilliant. Every day after lessons, he walked to Rosemary's stall first before going home. Rosemary was now like a second mother to him. She was the only one who ever cared for him without asking for anything in return. But one bright afternoon, everything changed. Rosemary called him to sit beside her. David immediately sensed something was wrong. Mama, what happened? Why are you looking like this? He asked. Rosemary took a long breath and held his hand gently. My son, my time here is ending. I will soon leave this town. David's heart stopped. He felt a cold fear enter his chest. Mama, leave? Go where? Rosemary wiped her tears. My old friend from the city visited. She told me there is more money in the food business there. She said if I come, I can grow. I can expand. I can finally live a better life. I have suffered here for too long, my son. David shook his head quickly. No, Mama. You cannot leave me. Who will I talk to? Who will help me when I am hungry? Who will encourage me? Mama, please don't go. Tears rolled down his cheeks uncontrollably. Seeing David cry like that broke Rosemary's heart. My son, I don't want to go far from you, but I must find greener pastures. I want my daughter to have a better life too. If I stay here, we will continue to struggle forever." David cried harder. "Mama, please, let me follow you. I will wash plate, I will sweep, I will help you sell. I don't want you to leave me alone." Rosemary shook her head sadly. "I would have loved to take you, my child. You know I love you as my own. But your father and your stepmother will never allow it. They will say I am stealing you. They will make trouble for me. I cannot fight that battle. You must stay here and finish school." David wiped his tears angrily. "Mama, they don't care about me. They never did. You are the only one who has ever cared. Please don't leave me here." Rosemary's tears fell too. "Listen to me, David. Wherever you are, I am with you. My prayers will follow you. When you feel hungry, the Lord will feed you. When you feel alone, the Lord will comfort you. You will continue reading your books. You will become that engineer you promised to be. You will go to the city one day, not as a poor boy, but as a great man." David sniffed hard. "Mama, I don't want to lose you." Rosemary smiled painfully. "You will never lose me, my son. Distance cannot break love." David rested his head on her shoulder like the small boy he used to be, and she stroked his back the way she did 10 years ago when she first found him crying. They both cried quietly in front of the stall. It felt like their hearts were tearing apart. Finally, Rosemary whispered, "I will leave in 2 days. But I will come and visit you whenever I can. And you must promise me something." David lifted his head slowly. "What, Mama?" "Promise me you will focus on your books. Promise me you will not let hunger or sadness stop your future. Promise me you will become great." David wiped his tears again and nodded strongly. "I promise, Mama, I will become a great man. And one day, I will find you wherever you are and build you a very big house like I said when I was small." Rosemary smiled through her tears. "May God make it come true, my son." And that was the first time David felt what heartbreak truly meant. Days after Rosemary left the village, David felt empty. He walked home slowly, replaying her last words in his head. But before he could even step into the compound properly, Adan was already standing at the doorway, waiting for him with that wicked smirk she always wore when she wanted to hurt him. She laughed loudly. "So your precious widow has finally left. That's good. Your suffer just began. Now you will see real hunger. You think you have suffered. You haven't seen anything yet." David stood there silently at first, staring at her. His heart was still broken from losing Rosemary, and now this woman wanted to add more pain. She took one step closer and hissed, "No more free food for you. No more safe place. You will taste hunger well now." David's eyes filled with tears, but this time something inside him burned. He had grown. He was no longer 5, he was tired. He looked straight into her eyes. "What have I ever done to you? Why are you doing this to me? All these years you have been tormenting me. Are you not tired? You wicked woman." Adan froze. "What did you say to me?" she shouted. "How dare you talk to me like that? You small rat, you are talking back to me." David stood firmly and said, "I have been quiet for long. I have swallowed all your wickedness. But I will not take this anymore." Adan's mouth fell open. She pointed her finger at him dramatically. Today you will leave this house. I will tell my husband that you insulted me. You dare raise your voice at me. You don't even know what will befall you. I will show you Pepper." David stared at her angrily. He was done being scared. For the first time in his life, he felt strong. He felt like Rosemary's courage was living inside him. Adan stood there trembling with anger, breathing like someone ready to fight. David stood facing her like a boy who had decided to stop being a victim. And that moment changed everything. Because after 10 years of suffering, David's true journey was finally beginning. And this time, he was not going to endure wickedness quietly. That evening, when Mr. Okafor returned from work, Adan rushed to him immediately. He didn't even have time to sit down before Adan started shouting and pretending to cry as usual. "My husband, come and hear what your son did to me today. If I tell you, you will not believe it." Mr. Okafor frowned. "Adan, what is it again? Why are you shouting like this?" She pointed towards the room where David stood quietly. Your so-called son slapped me today. He insulted me. He talked to me like I am nothing in this house. I will not take it anymore. That boy must leave this house today." Mr. Okafor looked confused. "Slapped you? David?" "No. David cannot do that." "He did," she screamed. "He did, and he almost pushed me down. This boy is becoming something else. I don't know where he came from, and now he wants to harm me and my son." Mr. Okafor sighed. "Adan, please calm down." But she refused. She folded her arms and said something that froze the entire room. "In fact, I am tired of pretending. You have to tell him the truth. Tell him he is not our biological child. Tell him we found him in the forest years ago. Tell him how we picked him up like a stray animal. Let him know where he came from." Mr. Okafor's heart jumped. "Adan, must you say it like that? You don't have to talk about his past again. He is my son now." But Adan fired back immediately. "He is not my son. I will never accept him as my son. And I will not stay in the same house with a child that is not mine and now raising hand at me. Tell him the truth before he does something terrible to me and my son. I will not risk our lives." Mr. Okafor sighed painfully. "Please, David is too young to know about this. It will break him. Let him grow more. Let him finish school first." But Adan shouted louder, "Never! I will not wait. I will tell him myself tonight. He must know he doesn't belong here. That boy must leave this house." Mr. Okafor tried to hold her hand, but she removed her arm sharply. "Leave me. I will say it. Today. Unknown to both of them, David was standing behind the doorway, listening to everything. Every single word. His heart broke into pieces. He slowly walked back into the small room he shared with Ebuka and closed the door gently. Then he fell on the floor and began to cry. Not the small, quiet cry of a child, but the deep, painful cry of someone whose entire world had just collapsed. "So, I am not their child. So they found me in the forest. So I don't belong here." For the first time in his life, David felt truly alone. Not even Rosemary was here to hold him. He cried until his voice disappeared. That same night, after crying until his eyes were swollen, David knew he couldn't stay in that house anymore. He couldn't wait for Adan to throw him out. So he stood up quietly, wiped his tears, and packed his small school bag. Inside it, he put 2 shirts and the money Rosemary had secretly given him. For emergency, the day before she left. He held the money tightly and whispered, "Mama Rosemary, I am coming to find you. God will help me. I will find you." The house was silent. David opened the back door slowly so nobody would hear. He stepped outside into the cold night. He walked until he reached the main road, and there he saw a night bus loading passengers for the city. Without thinking, he used almost all the money Rosemary left for him to buy a ticket and climbed inside. He sat near the window, hugging his small bag tightly. His heart hurt, but something inside him also felt strong. "I will find her," he whispered. "God will do it for me. I will not die in that house." When morning came, the bus arrived in the city. David stepped down and froze. The city was huge, cars everywhere, tall buildings, people rushing, loud horns. He looked like a tiny grain of sand in a large desert. He walked to a woman selling groundnuts and asked shyly, "Excuse me, Ma, please do you know my Auntie Rosemary? She sells food. She has a daughter. Her name is Amara." The woman stared at him for 2 seconds, then burst into laughter. "My son, this is a big city. How do you expect me to know everybody? Do you know how many Rosemarys are here?" David nodded slowly, trying not to cry. He moved to another man and asked, "Sir, please, do you know my Auntie Rosemary? She sells food." The man laughed even louder. "My friend, will you allow me focus on my business? Do you think I know all the food sellers in this whole city? Leave here a beg." David stepped back, his eyes filled with tears again. He didn't know where to go. He didn't know where Rosemary lived. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "God, please, help me find her. Don't let me suffer. Don't let me walk alone." And with that small prayer, David picked up his bag again and continued searching the city, a tiny boy in a giant place, walking by faith. Back in the village, when morning came and David did not come out of his room, Mr. Okafor knocked softly. There was no answer. He pushed the door open and froze. The small bag was gone. David's clothes were gone. His heart dropped. "Adan!" he shouted with a voice that shook the whole house. She came out slowly, acting innocent. "What is it again?" she asked. Mr. Okafor pointed at the empty room. "David is not here. He has run away." Adan shrugged casually. "Let him run now. Maybe he has finally gone to look for his real parents." "I don't care." "Good for him." Mr. Okafor stared at her in disbelief. "You don't care? A small boy disappeared from the house, and you say you don't care? What kind of woman are you?" Adan frowned. "I am a woman that will not raise another person's child. He is not mine. He never respected me. He slapped me yesterday. I am happy he is gone. Let him go and meet his fate." Mr. Okafor stepped closer, his face dark with anger. "If anything happens to that boy, anything at all, you will not believe what I will do to you. That boy is my responsibility. I don't care where he came from. From the day I found him, he became my son. And you chased him away with your wickedness." But Adan only hissed. "Don't blame me. Blame yourself for bringing Forest children into this house. Now he has gone to wherever he belongs. I am even relieved." Mr. Okafor walked outside restlessly, looking up and down the street, asking neighbors if they had seen David. Nobody had. Meanwhile, in the city, David was tired from walking up and down, asking strangers about Rosemary. He had no place to stay, no food to eat, and no idea where to go next. His legs were paining him, so he walked into a nearby park just to sit and rest his head a little. As he sat on a bench, he heard a baby crying loudly somewhere behind him. The cry was sharp, painful, and continuous. David turned and saw a man carrying a 5-month-old boy who was crying uncontrollably. The man looked confused, jumping up and down, patting the baby's back, trying everything to make him stop, but nothing worked. David stood up and walked closer. "Sir, please, can I help?" The man looked up, surprised. "Help? My friend, this baby has been crying for almost 10 minutes. I don't know what else to do. My wife went for a meeting, so I brought him out to walk small. But he just started crying like this." David smiled gently. "Sir, I can make him stop crying." The man raised his eyebrows. "You? A young boy like you?" David nodded. "Yes, sir. Let me try." The man hesitated for a moment, then handed the baby to him carefully. David held the baby gently and began to dance small, funny dances, moving his shoulders up and down, swinging his arms, making small sounds with his mouth. Within seconds, the baby stopped crying. Then he giggled. The father's eyes widened. "Hey, what kind of magic is this? This boy has cried since, and you just carried him and he kept quiet." David laughed. "Some babies like dancing, sir. That's why." The father smiled in relief. "Thank you, my son. You have saved me." David nodded politely. "It's nothing, sir. I just heard the baby's voice from where I was sitting and came to check. I was only looking for my Auntie Rosemary." The man's face changed. "Rosemary? Auntie Rosemary? Which Rosemary?" David replied softly. "She sells food. She moved to this city some time ago with her daughter. That's the person I'm looking for." The man sighed. There are many Rosemarys here. Do you know where she lives?" David shook his head sadly. "No, sir. That's why I was asking people. I don't even know where I will sleep tonight." The man looked at him closely, studying his tired face, dusty clothes, and the small bag he carried. He knew immediately that the boy had no home in the city. "My son," he said gently, "I don't know where your auntie lives, but I can help you look for her tomorrow." David's eyes brightened. "Tomorrow, sir?" "Yes. But for now," the man said, looking at the darkening sky, "come with me. You can sleep in my house tonight. We don't live far from here. Tomorrow morning we will go around and ask people. Maybe someone will know your Rosemary." For a moment, David could not speak. Hope rose inside him like sunlight. He had been thinking of where he would sleep. He had been scared of the night. But now someone was offering him shelter. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." The man smiled kindly. "Let's go home, my son." The man's name was Mr. Paul, a very wealthy and influential man in the city. Everyone respected him. His house was big and beautiful. When he entered, the housekeeper greeted him. He told her to prepare the guest room for the boy. Later that evening, his wife Patricia came home from her meeting. "Honey, I'm home," she said, smiling. Mr. Paul kissed her cheek, then told her everything that happened at the park. Patricia's smile disappeared immediately. "Wait, you brought a stranger to our house? Just like that? What if he is dangerous? What if he is lying? You should have helped him with money or taken him to the police. Why bring him here?" Mr. Paul shook his head gently. "Patricia, listen. This boy had nowhere to go. I could see it in his eyes. He was scared and alone. I couldn't leave him on the street like a stray animal. And tomorrow we will help him look for his Auntie Rosemary." Patricia took a slow breath. His words softened her heart a little. "All right," she said. "Let me go and see him." She walked to the guest room. David was sitting on the bed. He stood up immediately when he saw her. "Good evening, Ma," he said. Patricia's heart paused. Something about the boy made her silent. She couldn't explain it. She looked at him again. His gentle eyes, his face, the sadness mixed with strength. It was like she had seen him somewhere before, or like her spirit recognized him. She didn't know why, but she felt something pulling inside her chest. She managed to smile. "Welcome, my son. Feel at home," she said, then quietly closed the door and walked back to her husband. When she entered the living room, she sat beside Mr. Paul slowly. He looked at her. "What is it?" Patricia shook her head slightly. "I don't know. Something didn't feel right about that boy." "What do you mean?" Mr. Paul asked. "I don't know. There is something strange, something familiar, something I can't explain. When I looked at him, my heart stopped for a moment. I felt like the boy is connected to something in our past. I don't understand it, but something about him is not ordinary." Mr. Paul looked at her carefully. The room became quiet. Meanwhile, in the guest room, David sat quietly on the bed, staring at the ceiling. His small bag was beside him, and his heart was full of confusion. He whispered to himself, "Why are they calling me their son? Both husband and wife. They don't even know me. Why are they so kind? Why do they talk to me like they have known me before? But why are they treating me like their child? I am a stranger here." Sighed deeply. "People in the village look at me like I am nothing. But these people, these rich people, are calling me son. Why?" His eyes began to water again, not from sadness this time, but from confusion. He curled up on the bed, hugging his small bag. "Auntie Rosemary, where are you? Please let me find you tomorrow, please." Then he closed his eyes slowly, still wondering why a powerful man like Mr. Paul and a classy woman like Patricia felt something in their hearts when they looked at him. The next morning, Mr. Paul's father, Grandpa Emmanuel, came to visit. He was an elderly, respected man, powerful in the city, just like his son. As soon as he entered the house, he saw David sitting quietly at the dining table, waiting politely for breakfast. The moment Grandpa Emmanuel looked at him, he stopped walking. His eyes widened. He whispered, "Paul, come here. Come here now." Mr. Paul rushed to him. "Papa, what is it?" The old man pointed at David slowly. "That boy, the boy I just saw, he looks so much like me when I was young. Paul, are you seeing what I am seeing?" Paul swallowed hard. "Papa, my wife said the same thing yesterday. She said something about him felt familiar. She said her spirit reacted." Grandpa Emmanuel stepped closer. "Paul, could he be your missing son?" Mr. Paul felt his stomach tighten. "Papa, that thought entered my mind since last night. I could not sleep. The way he talks, the way he behaves, the way he respects people, even his eyes. Papa, this is strange. Since yesterday that I saw David, I have not been myself. Something inside me kept calling him my child. Papa, can you believe? I called him son yesterday. Someone I just met. A stranger. And it felt natural. It didn't feel wrong." Patricia came into the living room. "Papa, you also noticed?" He nodded slowly. "The resemblance is too much. This boy has the same forehead, the same eyes, the same way of sitting calmly. Paul, we cannot ignore this. We have to do a DNA test." Mr. Paul sighed deeply. Papa, David told me he ran away from his village to look for an Auntie Rosemary. He didn't say anything about his real parents. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe they hid the truth from him. The old man touched his son's shoulder. Paul, your missing child would be around his age now, and he disappeared under strange circumstances many years ago. This boy fits everything. We must check. We must confirm. This cannot be a coincidence. David, sitting at the table, had no idea they were all looking at him from behind, whispering, shocked, confused, and scared. Inside their hearts, a question had awakened. Could this lonely boy be the child they lost? And destiny was finally bringing the truth to their door. Secretly, Patricia took a few strands of David's hair and gave them to Mr. Paul's trusted doctor. They didn't want to scare the boy, so they didn't tell him anything yet. The test was done quietly. 2 days later, the results came in. Mr. Paul opened the envelope with shaking hands. Patricia held her breath. Grandpa Emmanuel sat forward. When Paul read the paper, his eyes widened, then filled with tears. Papa, Patricia, it is true. 100% match. David is our son. Patricia burst into tears. Grandpa Emmanuel began thanking God loudly. Mr. Paul dropped to his knees, crying like a child. My son, after so many years of lost hope, we finally found him. They couldn't stop crying. For years they had searched. For years they had believed their child was gone forever. For years they had lived with pain, and now suddenly their lost son was right there in their house. That evening they called David to the living room. He walked in gently, confused by the serious faces. Mr. Paul held his hand and made him sit down. Patricia took his other hand. Then they told him everything. How he was born in a big hospital, how a wicked nurse stole him from the maternity ward the same night, how security searched everywhere, how police tried but failed, how the nurse disappeared and was never seen again, how they cried for months, how they almost lost their minds, how every year on his birthday they lit a candle and prayed he was alive somewhere. David froze, then tears filled his eyes. Me? I was stolen, he whispered. Yes, my son, Patricia said, pulling him into her arms. You were taken from us when you were only a few hours old. We searched for you, but we never gave up hope. David began to cry, but this time they were tears of joy, relief, shock, and happiness all mixed together. So, you are my parents, he asked. Yes, my child, Mr. Paul said, hugging him tightly. Your mother and I had you when we were very young. Losing you almost destroyed us. But God has brought you back. Daddy and Mummy loves you. We are going to give you the world. David cried harder and hugged them both. I am so happy. I am so happy I found you. Patricia kissed his forehead. No, my son, we found you. God brought you home. After a long emotional moment, David looked up and said softly, Daddy, please, can we go and look for Auntie Rosemary? She saved my life. She fed me when nobody cared. I want to see her. Mr. Paul smiled and wiped his tears. Don't worry, son. My boys will help with that. We will find her no matter where she is. You owe her gratitude, and so do we. Now come, let's go to the living room and celebrate. You don't know how happy your mother and I are. Our lost son has finally returned. This home is complete again. Days after the city search brought no result, Mr. Paul decided to travel to the village. He said to Patricia, I must go and thank the man who took care of David all these years. And maybe someone in the village knows where this Rosemary lives. Patricia agreed, so early the next morning, Mr. Paul drove to the village. When he arrived, he found Okafor sitting outside his house. The man stood, shocked to see such a wealthy stranger coming toward him. Sir, welcome. How can I help you? Okafor asked politely. Mr. Paul shook his hand firmly. I came to thank you. You raised my son for many years without knowing he belonged to me. You protected him, fed him, sent him to school. I owe you gratitude. Okafor was confused at first, then suddenly understood. David must have found his real parents. His eyes softened. I did what any man would do, sir. Mr. Paul gave him a check quietly. This is small compared to what you did for my child. Okafor's hands shook. Sir, this is too much. No amount can repay a lost childhood, Mr. Paul replied. After thanking him, Mr. Paul cleared his throat carefully. Please, I want to ask about someone, a woman named Rosemary. My son told us she took care of him when he was here. Do you know where she is now? This time, before Okafor could speak, Adan came out from the back of the house with her usual coldness. She didn't like hearing Rosemary's name because she knew how much the widow loved David, and jealousy still lived in her heart. Adan frowned. If it's that food seller you're talking about, the one that used to give David food, she's not around anymore. Mr. Paul asked gently, Not around? Did she travel? Adan sighed and said carelessly, No, she died. 2 days ago. She and her daughter. Mr. Paul stepped back slowly. Died? What happened? Okafor lowered his head this time and answered softly because, unlike Adan, he actually respected the dead. Sir, it was an accident. She left this village years ago, but people said she was returning to visit an old aunt. On the way, they had a bad accident. Both mother and child. They didn't survive. Mr. Paul's heart dropped. He didn't know Rosemary personally, but he felt the pain deeply because she saved his son's life. How will I tell my son that the woman who loved him when the world didn't is gone? How will I break his heart like this? He turned away, fighting tears. This will destroy him. After Mr. Paul drove out of the compound, Adan turned to her husband with shock written all over her face. My husband, you know I just lied about Rosemary being dead. But why did you join me? Why did you support it? I'm shocked. Okafor looked around to be sure nobody was listening. Then he sighed deeply. Adan, you will never understand. Do you know that back in the days, I once asked Rosemary to marry me? Adan's eyes widened. What? You? You asked that woman to marry you? Okafor nodded slowly. Yes, I did. But she refused. She said she didn't want to be a second wife. She said she wanted a peaceful life with her daughter. She didn't want trouble. He paused. And I still liked her, even after she refused me. Adan hissed loudly. So, Okafor continued, if we tell that wealthy man the truth, that Rosemary is alive and living in the city, he will find her quickly. And when he finds her, he will give her and her daughter a better life than we have ever dreamed of. He will help them. He will change their future forever. And do you know what that means? Rosemary will be in the city enjoying wealth, while we remain here suffering. Adan frowned. Ah, so that is why you lied. Because of jealousy? Yes, he said plainly, because I'm supposed to be in the city. Look at me. After so many years of raising David, that man only gave me a check of 30 million naira. Just 30 million. Can you imagine? Didn't you see the car he came with? Didn't you see how wealthy he looks? That man is swimming in money, yet he gave me only 30 million. Adan shook her head. What a stingy man. Okafor laughed bitterly. Stingy indeed. And you see that boy David? He is the same. He is like his father. When he makes it in life, he will not even look at us. Better let them think Rosemary is dead so they won't go and lift her above us. Adan clicked her tongue loudly. Foolish people, all of them. The father, the son, and that widow. See how they are running up and down for someone that sold rice. Nonsense. Okafor nodded. Let them believe what we said. Let them go back to the city and forget. Let Rosemary suffer wherever she is. And the two sat there proudly, not knowing that the lie they told would bring consequences far bigger than anything they could imagine. Mr. Paul returned home late in the evening, his heart carrying a weight that felt impossible to drop. As he entered the living room, Patricia stood up immediately. Honey, what happened? Did you find anything? He sat down slowly and rubbed his forehead. I found Okafor. I thanked him. I gave him a check. Patricia nodded. Good. And Rosemary? What did you hear? Mr. Paul swallowed hard, tears forming again. They said, she is gone. Patricia gasped. Gone? What do you mean? They said she died in an accident 2 days ago. Her and her daughter. They were coming to the village, and they didn't survive. Patricia was so shocked. Oh my God. At that moment, David walked into the living room. When he saw his parents' faces, his heart jumped. Daddy, what's wrong? Did you find her? Mr. Paul stood up slowly. David, my son. We searched everywhere. We tried. We looked everywhere. But the villagers said Rosemary passed away in an accident. David froze. He stared at his father like someone who didn't understand English. What did you say? Daddy? Patricia reached for him. My son, we are sorry. We tried. David stepped back. Tears flooded his eyes instantly. No. No, Daddy. No. She can't be dead. Not my Auntie Rosemary. Not the woman who saved me. No. Daddy, no. He fell on his knees and cried like the same small boy who used to sit beside Rosemary's food stall. His parents rushed to him, holding him tight, but nothing could calm him. He cried until his voice disappeared. She was all I had. She was my mother when nobody cared. She saved me. She loved me. She fed me. Why did God take her away before I could thank her? Mr. Paul hugged him tighter. My son, you will honor her. You will make her name great. That is how you show gratitude. 10 years moved like wind. David was no longer the crying boy who ran from the village. He grew, he studied, he worked hard, and he rose like a star in the sky. He became Engineer David Paul, one of the youngest, wealthiest engineers in the country. He built companies, he built estates, he built bridges, schools, hospitals, roads. He had houses, cars, workers under him. People respected him everywhere he went. His parents were proud of him beyond words, but even with all his success, one thing never left his heart: Rosemary. Every year he donated in her name, and every night before he slept, he whispered, Auntie Rosemary, I hope you can see me. I kept my promise. I became an engineer, and everything I am is because of you. One warm afternoon, David stepped out of a fancy restaurant after a business meeting. He adjusted his suit, preparing to enter his car, when suddenly he saw a woman walking slowly across the road. Something about her made his heart stop. David froze. No, this cannot be. I must be dreaming. Am I seeing a ghost? He blinked twice, rubbed his eyes, and looked again. It was her, the same familiar face, the same gentle walk. Rosemary, older, thinner, but still Rosemary. David's heart exploded with shock and joy at the same time. He stood there shaking. 10 years of pain, confusion, guilt, and heartbreak rushed out of his chest all at once. His eyes filled automatically with tears. He gathered all the courage inside him and shouted, Auntie Rosemary. She stopped. She turned. She looked at him. She frowned slightly, confused. Good afternoon, sir. Please, do I know you? David stepped closer, tears already falling down his face. Mama, it's me, David. Your little boy from the village. Your son. Rosemary's eyes widened. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, David, my son. David, is this you? David burst into tears. Yes, Mama, it's me. It's me. Rosemary hugged him tightly, crying loudly right there on the road. My son, see how big you are. See how handsome you are. See how God kept you. Oh, thank you, Jesus. David, my child, look at you. David held her like he was holding life itself. Mama, I thought you were dead. They told me you died. I cried for years. Rosemary was shaking as she held his face. Dead? Me? No, oh, I am alive. God kept me. But life has been hard. But I thank God for everything. David wiped her tears. Mama, where is Amara? Rosemary smiled proudly. She is fine. She is a graduate now. David smiled, full. Mama, let's go home. My home. Please, we have so much to talk about. So many things to explain. So many years to catch up on. Rosemary looked around shyly. Ah, no, my son. Let me just go home and tell Amara I saw you. No, Mama, David interrupted. Let me take you home. You will not suffer again in this life. Mama, please let me take you to my house. We have a lot to talk about. David drove Rosemary straight to his own mansion. When they entered the compound, Rosemary covered her mouth in shock. The house was huge, like something she had only seen in dreams. David gently held her hand and led her inside the beautiful living room. Mama, sit down. You are home now. Rosemary sat carefully on the soft couch, looking around, amazed. David sat beside her, still holding her hand. She wiped her tears and began to speak. My son, let me tell you everything. After I left the village years ago, life was not easy. I went to the bank to ask for a loan. I wanted to start a big food selling business, something better than my small stall. But the bank rejected me. They said I had no guarantor, no money, nothing to offer. I cried that day, my son. I had so many dreams but no support. She shook her head slowly. But I kept pushing. I rented a small room. I started selling little things again. Amara was in school that time. I suffered, David, I suffered. But God helped me. At least we had food. David listened with tears quietly running down his face. Rosemary continued, Amara finished school last year. She is now a graduate, but she has no job yet. Life has been hard for us. Some days we even sleep hungry. But we thank God for everything. David sighed. Mama, did you look for me? Rosemary took a deep breath. I did, my son. I did. I went back to the village after some time. I went to ask Okafor about you. But Adan told me you ran away after stealing her husband's money. She said you left because you were a thief. David gasped. Mama, what? She said that? Yes. She said you took money and ran to Lagos, but I didn't believe her. I know you. You can never steal. But I didn't know where else to look. So I left with pain in my heart. David frowned. Mama, that woman is wicked. She and Okafor lied to everyone. They even made me cry for years. I believed you were gone. Rosemary started crying again. David wiped her tears. Mama, stop. God has brought us together. That's all that matters. And you know something? I once told you, when I was small, that I would buy you a house. Today I am fulfilling that promise. Rosemary looked at him with wide eyes. My son, what do you mean? David smiled. Mama, this is your house now. You are not suffering again, not even for one day. You will never sell food on the street again. You will never beg a bank for loan again. Rosemary cried uncontrollably. David stood up. Mama, let's call Amara. Tell her to come. Send her this address. She must join us today. Our family is complete now. Rosemary nodded quickly, tears everywhere. She took her small phone with shaking hands, dialed Amara's number and whispered, My daughter, come quickly. God has answered our prayers. David smiled, waiting to finally reunite with the girl who grew up beside his heart. After Rosemary called Amara, David immediately picked up his own phone and dialed his parents. When Mr. Paul answered, David's voice was shaking with joy. Daddy, Mummy, I found her. I found Auntie Rosemary. She is alive. She is with me right now. Patricia screamed with happiness, and Mr. Paul kept saying, Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. They thanked her for saving their son's life and promised they would never allow her to suffer again. Soon Amara arrived. The moment she stepped into the house and saw David, their eyes locked. It was like their spirits recognized each other instantly. They smiled shyly, and something warm passed between them. Amara couldn't believe the small boy she used to play with was now a tall, handsome, wealthy man. David couldn't believe the little girl he remembered was now a beautiful lady. From that day they grew closer and closer. Their love bloomed naturally, like it was destiny. 1 month later, with blessings from both families, David and Amara got married in a beautiful ceremony. Rosemary cried tears of joy. Patricia hugged her and said, Sister, your daughter is now my daughter too. Mr. Paul danced until he was tired. The wedding joined two families forever. Meanwhile, back in the village, life had already dealt with Okafor and Adan. All their money had finished because Ebuka, the son who used to sneak bread to David when they were small, had invested the 30 million naira wrongly. Poverty had returned to them like fire. One afternoon, Ebuka came to David quietly. He knelt down and cried, Brother David, please forgive me. Life is hard. We made mistakes. I need help to start again. Please don't remember my mother's wickedness. Please help me. David lifted him up gently and said, Ebuka, you were good to me when I was small. You were the only one who showed me kindness in that house. I will help you because of God, not because of your mother. He gave Ebuka money to start a clean business, helped him rent a shop and told him, Use this chance well. Don't waste it. Ebuka cried and promised to change his life. A year later, David and Amara had their first child, then the second. Their home was full of joy, peace, laughter, and blessings. And so David and Amara lived happily, blessed by God, surrounded by love, proving that kindness can change destinies, that pain can lead to miracles, and that the heart that forgives will always rise.